We know scammers are getting smarter, from fake jobs to romance scams. These fraudsters are constantly finding new ways to target people right here in the Charlotte-Mecklenburg area. So we want to talk to Sergeant Seth Green from the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department right now, the Financial Crimes Unit, to help us understand what's happening right now and what we can do to protect ourselves. Sergeant Green, thank you so much for joining us here on Live Impact News, first of all.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Talk to us about what you're seeing right now and what scams are hitting the community the most.
Well, I mean, there's scammers are hitting on basically every component of life these days. I think that what's really important for me at the CMPD, or important for us at the CMPD, is kind of start discussing about what we're seeing is a lot of law enforcement related scams, and that's very as important for us to make sure that we get some messages out there that that's not something that law enforcement supports. It's not anything that we're involved in. On behalf of the CMPD, we just want to make sure that everybody knows that the CMPD will never call you and ask you for money that is related to any type of criminal investigation, whether that's fees, any type of processing, or any type of anything involved in the investigation, any fines of that, associated with a criminal investigation. CMPD is never going to be the one to call you and ask you for any money over the phone. We can't necessarily speak for all law enforcement agencies nationwide. We don't know their practices, but by and large, I would feel comfortable saying that most law enforcement agencies aren't going to call and try to solicit money from you related to a criminal investigation over the phone.
Okay, so that's what that kind of scam looks like. They're calling you out of the blue and saying that you're being investigated?
Right. And it takes on different little nuances. I mean, sometimes it's a bail bond scam, or it's a jury duty scam, or it's a loved one has been arrested, or and you have to help them out in some kind of way. So it changes daily on what they present to you, but I really think it's important for our community to know that that's not something that the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department will ever do in any of those capacities.
Are there certain groups being targeted more than others when it comes to this kind of scam?
No. This is across.
It's just
the board.
random.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
it's
okay.
Equal opportunity.
Oh gosh. All right. So we hear all the time about phishing scams, but they're getting more sophisticated, aren't they?
I mean, I would say that they're getting a little bit more, creative in the way that they present these scams. But it really still boils down to the human condition and the ability to kind of identify some things that are red flags in all the emails.
Right.
Yeah, creativity in the sense in their presentation, but it really kind of all boils down to trying to manipulate the user behind the computer or behind the phone or on the phone.
So what should we be looking out for then?
Yeah, I think all the context of what you're receiving always matters, right? I think that is the email that you're receiving, is it expected? Does it align with something that you're trying to accomplish? We can always make sure that the header aligns with who you're trying to, the header of the email aligns with who you're trying to contact, and just applying all similar principles to not only the phishing emails, but phishing is just another form of a scam that we want to help people be prepared for and help to prevent. So, apply all the same principles to phishing scams.
I mean, it gets so overwhelming when you're getting a lot of emails, some from work, some from family, some from what you think might be law enforcement. What are maybe some of the biggest red flags? You say you talk about emotion or in context, and what that this might be, especially for our vulnerable communities, like older folks. What should they be saying to themselves? This might be a scam. What sets off that alarm?
Right. So the scams, like I alluded to earlier, they're going to change daily, and the scammers are going to change. They're going to change the context, and they're going to change the narrative behind it. So what we like to do is provide people with some very foundational preventative measures, and that this can apply to every single scam that I think anybody can encounter, whether it's on the phone or email or however it comes across to you. I can spend a lot of time talking to you about how what's the latest and greatest scam that we just heard this week or that's coming across.
Yeah.
But that doesn't help if we can give the people, again, the foundational things to prevent all scams. And the first thing that we always ask people to do is just to slow down, right? I think scammers are always trying to prey upon people's impulsivity. I personally don't make great decisions when I'm hurried or rushed, so we're just going to ask people just to really kind of slow down. And just what we would prefer is that if this happens over the phone, that people just simply get off the phone and take a few minutes to think about what they have going on, or slow down when they're sorting through their emails. Or so anytime there's a component of time applied to when you're preparing to share personal information or financial information, people should approach that scenario as if it was a scam, and then to be convinced otherwise. So the component of the time is just something people is a red flag that people
that's huge. That's a good one.
Be concerned about. The second thing is that we just want people to think, right? I go back to what is the context? Does the context in all of these times matters, and what is it telling you? Like, is this email, is a telephone call expected? And I always go back to the old adage: if it's too good to be true, it probably is. So these are all questions that you need to be thinking through in the time and the space that you've just given yourself, because you've taken the time. Either you've gotten off the phone. So, and then number 3. So with the first one again, we have slow down. Second thing is we want to think through it, and then finally we want to validate or authenticate or verify what you're. We try to tell everybody be a detective on your own behalf and come in and say, let's look at the credentials of the people that are talking to you. Let's make sure that we can. Verify the source that you're speaking to. Is their business legitimate? Are they legitimate vendors or salespeople? And then finally, under the caveat of validating or authenticating, we always like to say, we like to get people to get a trusted advisor, and it doesn't always necessarily have to be a fiduciary or your financial planner or anything, but it can be a friend, it can be a colleague, it can be somebody in your network that is going to give you objective feedback. A lot of times we see scams that they're protracted, and they go over days, weeks, sometimes even months. And if people would just had a frank conversation with somebody that if they trust, somebody might identify some more red flags on that and provided the feedback to the victim that might have alleviated the whole scenario. So those are the things that we like to give everybody. Just slow down, think about it, and then validate any information that you get.
That's great advice. If it's too late, if you've already been caught, not caught, but if you realize you've been scammed or you gave your money away, your personal information after the fact, what do you do?
Well, I mean, I guess it depends on how it comes in, right? And if it's affiliated with a credit card or your financial institution, you certainly want to notify them as soon as possible. And they have their own standards and practices in the way that they handle any type of fraud investigation. And that varies from financial institution to financial institution. Secondly, we want you to notify law enforcement. It's something, information is powerful for us. And so, there's not always a direct line between you're reporting to us and an arrest or something that's going to make you feel really that much better about what had just occurred. But we need that information. We need to put that together with all the other information that we're receiving, and that's going to help us use our tools that we have to help prevent that.
All right. Any other resources or information that you want our viewers to know about?
Not necessarily as it relates to scams.
Okay.
We always want people to be careful. I think something that we always like to remind people is to make sure that they're freezing their credit, and they have their credit profile needs to be taken very seriously. So making sure that you get your credit frozen, and just always being careful online, and certainly when you're on the phone getting ready to share personal information or financial information.
All right, good stuff. And I mean, this is an area of crime that seems to be really growing, out there, doesn't it?
It is. The Federal Trade Commission says that in 2024, Americans lost over $10 billion to scams, right? And that matters. That's a big number to me. But that's also just only the reported, losses out there. So we can only extrapolate that that number might be larger.
All right. Good reminders this holiday season as we're in that holiday rush too. So perfect timing, Sergeant. Thanks for joining us. It's a good reminder, Carlene, for us to slow down. All right, do nothing hasty. All right, Sergeant Green from CMPD, thanks.